Mediterranean. Turkey's illegal actions recently led to a tense military standoff in the exclusive economic zone of Cyprus. Turkey is challenging the natural gas exploration plan of 3 allied countries, Greece, Cyprus, and Israel, also known as the Energy Triangle. This is a very exciting development, these countries working together. This strategic national and natural gas extraction alliance will allow the nations of this region, the Energy Triangle, to become a key energy hub for Europe. It is a great news for the economy of these countries. The U.S. has stated repeatedly that we support Cyprus's sovereign right to explore energy in this area. And at the recent EU-Turkey summit, the EU leaders strongly condemned Turkey's illegal actions in the Eastern Mediterranean and the Aegean Sea. Tensions over the Aegean Sea came to a boil since Turkish President Erdogan suggested that the Treaty of Lausanne, which defined Turkish and Greek borders and rights to the Aegean islands, should be, quote, updated. What does that mean? I formed the Hellenic caucus after Turkey arrived on the island of EMBCA and planted their flag illegally. And now many of the peoples that called me then are now concerned about this movement where they're saying that the treaty is no longer in place and it, quote, needs to be updated. This statement has led to rhetoric from Turkish politicians about taking action to recover the Aegean islands, quote, occupied by Greece, and to a marked increase in military activity on and above the sea. So the arrest by Turkey of 2 Greek soldiers who strayed across the border during bad weather has further caused problematic relations. Turkey refused to release them and says they will be charged with espionage, prompting the Greek defense minister to comment that the pair were being held as hostages. So the tensions are rising in this area and we have to be concerned about it. Recently, the EU made it clear that no normalization in relations is possible as long as Turkey doesn't return to the rule of law. Turkey's authoritarianism and actions is no longer temporary. Its attacks against citizens, civil liberties, free speech. They're holding over 70 women and children in prison now, to give one example. Turkey is fighting against the Kurds, our greatest ally in the fight against ISIS, who have been forced to give up fighting ISIS in order to defend themselves. We all know the Kurds were so successful working with us. Turkey allows ISIS to make gains as it hides with other Turkish-funded jihad rebel and terrorist groups, and it illegally invaded and occupies Afrin, where over 150,000 civilians are persecuted, killed, or forced to flee. It's currently planning to invade 2 more Kurdish cities in Syria and Iraq, and the invasion of Afrin was done on the military anniversary of the Battle of Gallipoli, which was fought in World War I symbolically to reclaim the lost Ottoman Empire. Turkey historically employed the strategy of forced displacement as a land grab creates refugees and creates many other problems while bringing in new populations that can be governed by the Turks, as they did in Cyprus, moving 40,000 troops in and many civilians. This force of ethnic cleansing and genocide is a war crime, and it's taking place among Christians and Yazidis who have been victims of genocide in Iraq and Syria. It's also a reminder of Turkey's invasion of the Greek island of Cyprus. And let me just tell you, it's bad news in the area. But on the good news, Macedonia is Greek.
Yes.
And I just introduced the resolution in front of the Congress of the United States that says Macedonia is Greek, and the U.S. should support the name, the Greek name, in the negotiations that are taking place now. And while we're at it, why don't we return the Parthenon marbles, the Greek marbles? And I will tell you, I was there with Margot and John Kazmatidis, I guess it was 2 years ago. He received this great honor and they made a stamp for him. And a number of their friends and supporters went over to Greece while he received this award with his family, John Jr., who's here tonight, and Andrea.